Hello and welcome to another Insurance Times video interview, this time with Mike Bottle, Senior Vice President for Distribution and Strategy at Arch Insurance. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for coming in to talk to us, and congratulations to Arch for winning the Commercial Lines Insurer of the Year at the Insurance Times Awards and for winning 5 stars in our broker service survey.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, fantastic achievement. We were delighted to win the Commercial Lines Insurer of the Year. I think it's more so because it's recognised by the industry and the brokers, so that means an awful lot to us. And yeah, to pick up 5 stars in your survey again on commercial lines was great. I think we're the only insurer probably to retain that award. So yeah, I mean, that's at the heart of what we're offering. So we're delighted to have received that.
Absolutely. I mean, as you just mentioned, the fact that brokers themselves vote on that service is exceptional and a really massive achievement for Arch. And I think you're very well placed to answer a question about what that service really means. What is it about Arch that brokers have rated so highly in terms of service?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's critical for us. It's seen at the outset as a differentiator for us. So we're committed to making sure that we put the broker at the heart of everything we do. I think we look at it from 2 aspects. I think there's an approach to trading and there's a cultural aspect to this. So in terms of trading, I think we set out our stall very early on that this was all about trading how the broker wanted to trade. If they wanted access to our 10 regional offices to talk to underwriters, that's absolutely fine. If they wanted to trade digitally, we've got a division set up purely for that. And these days, it's almost a sort of a hybrid work in there, access to both. So we don't dictate, and I think that's landing really well with our brokers. I think it's also about making sure that when they do get through to an underwriter, that underwriter is empowered to make decisions, and we look at making quick decisions. We want to go through with the broker, the approach to the quote, what the broker's looking for, and give them the sort of a deadline as to when we're going to come back to them. So yeah, I think it's about being relentless around that service.
Okay, and relentless is a really good word, and you mentioned the kind of cultural impact of that service as well. Could you explain a little bit more about that cultural aspect?
Yeah, I think in terms of culture, I think it's everything we're doing, as I said, is broker focused, and I think we should never lose sight of the fact that's what we're achieving or looking to achieve. But I think we have what we call internally the Arch experience, and we believe very strongly in that. And what I mean by that is, if you're a broker in the regions and you're talking to one of our offices, branch offices, or you're talking to our digital centre, the response you're going to get will be identical in terms of the willingness to talk to you about the risk, the expertise to talk about those tricky risks, the speed of service and the outcomes. So it's all about, for the broker, being confident that however they need to access Arch, it's consistent.
Absolutely. And how have brokers responded to you, and how do you iterate the improvement in those services as well? Do you emphasise communication from the top down, or is there another aspect that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the secret is to make sure that we're constantly in touch with our brokers. I mean, I think we pay an awful lot of heed to broker surveys, but we're also in regular dialogue, so we're constantly challenging ourselves and asking the brokers to challenge us on what works for them and what's a critical issue for them at the moment.
Absolutely, a true working relationship.
Absolutely, and I think it is about collaboration, and I think a success for us is where we've got a broker that shares those values, and it's not a one-way street. So, it's about the broker understanding what we're trying to achieve, our appetite, etc. But for us, just making sure that we understand what they're looking for.
Okay, absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned feedback and how you collect that as well, but how do you ensure that feedback is really dynamic and allowing you to constantly improve and iterate the improvements in those services that you're looking for?
Yeah, look, I think I use the word relentless. I think we're constantly working. We never sit on our laurels. We never accept that we've got it right. I think it has to evolve. And that can be anything around product development, appetite, clarification. But I just think it's the dialogue.
Mike, we've been talking about insurer service for brokers and how well Arch has done at this specific aspect of insurer service. What I wanted to ask you, as the 5-star ranked insurance service provider, is what are the key tenets of service? What are brokers looking for when they ask for improved insurer service, and how does that work for Arch?
Yeah, so I think, as you say, from the feedback that we receive, I think for us it's responsiveness, it's consistency of message. I think it's accessibility, and I think it's collaboration. And I think we wrap that round with execution, which is about making sure that we do what we say we're going to do, and we do it when we say we're going to do it. And I think that gives the brokers the reassurance that they need.
Absolutely. And can you give me some examples of what that looks like in practice?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the feedback we get is that we are very clear about wanting to help brokers win business. I think we are recognised for putting experienced underwriters at the front end of the process. I think we are very keen to look at and help brokers with more of the complex risks, which comes out of the fact that we've got experienced underwriters at the point of sale. So I think that, again, resonates well with the brokers.
So when we talk about insurer service as well, obviously you've mentioned that it's a two-way street. And one thing I wanted to ask you as well is, how can insurers be helped by brokers? How can brokers help you to help them in terms of insurer service?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is all about partnership, and we mean long-term partnership, and that's on both sides. I mean, I think we need to demonstrate to and give the confidence to the brokers that we're in this for the long term, that we're not in the short term going, and then we're going to retreat. But equally, from brokers, we want a sense that we're working with them over the long period, through the cycle, and I think that level of trust grows then, and I think that's what makes a dynamic partnership, is the fact that the brokers know we're in for the long haul, and we know that they're going to support us.
Okay, and in terms of examples, how does Arch help to kind of build that trust with brokers?
I think in terms of appetite, I think we talked about it. We talk about clarity, but I think we're also looking at, where can we collaborate? I think, it's a dynamic market, products need to evolve, and I think we certainly look to brokers to be part of that debate. So I think they feel they are part of the solution there, and I think that helps.
Absolutely, the true relationship.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, in terms of insurer service, what I really wanted to ask was about looking forward, what Arch has coming down the pipeline and those innovations that are really going to help brokers in terms of digitalisation and products.
So for us, this is about meeting the evolving needs of the broker, and I think front and centre of that is the commitment we're making in the digital world, which is recognising that products aren't entirely fit for purpose at the moment, and that there is some friction there. So we're investing heavily in making sure that there are underwriters heavily embedded in that process. So when a risk refers, broker is confident that someone at Arch is going to pick up that phone, he's going to want to trade, he's going to want to make that risk acceptable and get it through the system. The win then, of course, is for both of us, is at renewal, when it goes through, ideally without touching the sides. I think on top of that, we've also got data. We're investing heavily in data, and again, that's about using data to help reduce the burden on the broker in terms of the placement, and ideally reducing that friction in the whole process. I think thirdly is probably around product development, and we've got a number of products in the offing now waiting to launch. I think we've got 4 products this year, PI combined. We've got accident health, we've got terrorism, and probably later in the year be releasing a mini fleet product.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a lot coming down the pipeline for brokers as well. And the other thing I wanted to ask about was about how you ensure that all of those new propositions don't accidentally make anything worse for brokers, and how feedback from brokers factors into your thinking around.
Yeah, I mean, the model doesn't change. I mean, I think we've always committed to our brokers that we would give them the breadth of product range, and we always said from the very beginning of the UK regional division that this was about bringing specialty lines products into the regions. But I think we've learned our lesson. We think we understand the dynamics of the situation, and I think we're not going to ignore the brokers. I think nothing we're going to do is going to take away from that core service proposition.
Excellent, absolutely. So that there is thought that's gone into the delivery of these products based on the feedback.
Yeah, and I think we've been very clear with our brokers to understand exactly what they need. This isn't about flooding the market with new products for the sake of it. These are products that we've had specific demand from brokers, and we're meeting that demand.
Absolutely. Again, a true relationship between the insurer and the broker.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for having us in, Mike. That's been a really illuminating chat about what Arch is doing to constantly iterate the improvements to broker service. So thank you very much for having us in, and
pleasure.
see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.